For a little while now, it's kind of felt like the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been at a crossroads. But what if I told you Marvel not only agrees with that feeling, but actually has a secret playbook for 2026 that's designed to completely change the game? So let's dive in and break down their great pivot and what it really means for the future of the Multiverse Saga.
A lot of us have been feeling it, right? That little whisper of superhero fatigue. After this absolutely incredible, history-making run, a question has started to creep into the conversation for both fans and critics alike: is the MCU's golden age actually over? It's a really tough question, but it's the absolute perfect backdrop for understanding what Marvel is about to do next. And you can see this uncertainty perfectly in Phase 5, which, let's be honest, was a complete mixed bag. I mean, on one hand, we got an absolute masterpiece like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I mean, what an emotional, powerful send-off that pretty much everyone loved. But then, we also got Secret Invasion, which, landed with more of a thud. It's exactly this kind of inconsistency that set the stage for a major, major change.
And that change was supposed to be Phase 6. The initial promise, the whole pitch, was about getting back that sense of wonder. The plan was to kick things off with this whole wave of original projects, packed with new heroes, new franchises, and fresh ideas, all to fight that fatigue and get everyone excited again.
And that fresh start really began with a bang. The first huge project of Phase 6 was the Fantastic Four, which finally introduced Marvel's first family with this stunning 60s retro future look. It was set up to be this bold, epic sci-fi story that felt completely new, the perfect way to kick off the saga's third act.
And that sense of freshness just kept on rolling with animated projects like Eyes of Wakanda. See, instead of a typical sequel, we were getting a prequel, a really deep dive into the history and the lore of this incredible nation. It was all about expanding the universe in totally original ways that we hadn't seen before.
This whole trend of creative risks continued. I mean, even a smaller scale project like Wonder Man felt like such a breath of fresh air. A sharp, witty Hollywood satire is not your typical MCU project, right? And it proved the studio was still totally willing to explore new genres and new tones. So far, so good, right?
Well, this is where the story takes a very sharp turn. Just as we were all getting comfortable with all this newness, Marvel basically slammed on the brakes. The back half of 2026 marks a sudden, super dramatic pivot in their entire strategy. I mean, a complete and total reversal of course for Phase 6.
And the reasoning for this comes directly from the man in charge himself, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige. He came out and promised that Phase 6 would be the most focused to date. And that one word, focused, that is the key to this entire shift. It signals a move away from just expanding everywhere and a move toward consolidation.
So what does that focus look like in practice? Well, just look at the 2026 schedule. The year kicks off with Wonder Man, a brand new idea. But after that, just notice the pattern. Daredevil Season 2, X-Men 97 Season 2, a new Spider-Man movie, another Spider-Man cartoon sequel, and then finally, Avengers Doomsday. It's a sea of sequels.
Yeah, to put an even finer point on it, the rest of the year is dedicated almost exclusively to follow-ups. We are talking about established heroes and existing IP. Even a project that sounds new, like Vision Quest, is being framed as a direct sequel to WandaVision. The strategy is crystal clear, focus entirely on the characters and the stories we already know and love.
So the billion-dollar question is, why? Right? Why dangle all these exciting new ideas in front of us, only to pivot so hard back to the familiar? Well, the answer, it turns out, isn't in Marvel's future, but in its own celebrated past.
See, this pivot is a direct response to one of the biggest criticisms of Phase 4. So many people felt the MCU was introducing way too many new heroes all at once, without a clear plan for when we'd ever see them again. The new strategy is the complete opposite of that. Instead of adding more pieces to an already crowded board, they are focusing on uniting the pieces they already have.
In fact, if this whole strategy sounds a little bit familiar, it absolutely should. They are literally dusting off the exact playbook that made Phase 3 and the Infinity Saga finale one of the biggest cinematic events of all time. I mean, think back. Introduce a few key new players like Captain Marvel and Black Panther, spend the rest of the time focused on the core Avengers, and then boom, unite everyone for the epic finale. They're just running the same play all over again.
And the goal here is incredibly clear and simple. It is all about building unstoppable momentum towards those two massive crossover events looming on the horizon, Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. They want to clear away every single distraction and get every fan laser-focused on the main event.
So just how focused are we really talking about? Well, when you boil it all down, it comes down to this number, 2. That's it.
only two major new properties, the Fantastic Four and Wonder Man, are going to be introduced before this entire multiverse saga wraps up. It's a remarkably disciplined, almost minimalist approach, and it's all designed for maximum impact with zero clutter.
So, make no mistake, this isn't a retreat or some sign of panic. It is a calculated, strategic pivot. By narrowing the focus and leaning really hard on beloved characters, Marvel is creating a clear, direct path to the saga's epic finale and intentionally avoiding the mistakes of the very recent past.
Which of course leaves us with one final, really fascinating question. For a franchise that was built on constant innovation and always looking forward, is the key to its future success actually found by repeating the triumphs of its past? I guess we'll all have to wait and see if history can, in fact, strike twice.